Today we're talking about reliability and validity, two really important concepts in statistics. They're reliability and validity about the measures that you take, not about the statistical procedures you do with that data. If your data is reliable and valid, then your results will be meaningful when you do the right statistical procedures. Reliability answers the question, is this a good measure? And validity asks, is it measuring the right thing? Reliability means consistency in measurement. All of you probably had to take the SAT or the ACT to be admitted to Texas A&M. So I'm going to use that to illustrate. Texas A&M wants your score in the SAT to be a reliable measure of your academic ability. Therefore, if you took the SAT a month apart a second time, your score in the two administrations should be very close. Now, if you study day and night for a month in between, then that would change things. But a reliable measure would measure the same thing at a different time in the same way unless something drastically changed. Now, there are other forms of reliability. This is what we call test-retest. There's also something called internal consistency, where your answers among the questions are consistent with your answers on the other ones. But we're looking for with a characteristic like academic ability, which is pretty stable over time. Test-retest is a great way to measure reliability. But if we're measuring something like your mood, we would expect different results on different days. We would want something like internal consistency to be the measure of the reliability. On a mood scale, did you answer the question on degree of happiness or unhappiness agree with your answer on the question on the amount of sadness you're feeling that day? We would want those two questions to be in a similar direction. With the SAT, reliability asks, is it a good measure and consistently measure what the student's college readiness is? Would you get similar results if the same student took it twice? Validity, on the other hand, asks, does the SAT measure what it's supposed to measure? College readiness. Does the score on the SAT equate with doing well in college or with your high school GPA or your freshman GPA? Those would be criterion validity, where you compare the instrument to a similar instrument known to measure that same characteristic. GPA should measure college readiness, and SAT score should measure. So that's criterion validity. Content validity would be an expert looking at the exam and at the exam questions and saying, yes, that measures things people should know to do well in college. Validity asks whether the measurement or the instrument is measuring the right stuff. I think the two pictures in the eCampus show it very well. The first shooter was very consistent and very reliable, but he missed the center of the bullseye. He reliably hit the invalid target. While the second shooter was always on the target, but there was no consistency in his shooting. He validly had the right goal, but with no reliability. An instrument that's both reliable and valid, the shooter would hit all of his scores in the bullseye.